So you're thinking about buying a house in Kansas City, but don't know where to start. Hi, my name is Rachel.Kilmer. I'm a real estate agent here based in the KC Metro, licensed on both sides of the state line, and I hear that question every single day. So I've created a guide to send to buyers and to go over with them in person about the steps to buying a house. I will send that to you. Just let me know if you want it, or hang tight and I'm going to go over it all with you right now. This is the actual conversation I have with real life buyers that are thinking about buying a house in Kansas City. Usually it's over a cup of coffee though, so pour yourself a glass of wine, I guess, because we're online, it's probably late, and settle in and let's talk this through. The first step to buying a house in Kansas City is pre-qualification. You have to talk to a lender to find out what you can even afford. This is really important to answer questions like, can I even afford to buy a house? How much do I need for a down payment? How much are closing costs? What would my monthly payment be? This is critical. And a great way to find a great lender is not Google. Don't just Google a lender. Get a referral from someone you trust that has bought a home recently, or a real estate agent that can refer you to someone local that's doing a lot of business and is an expert in their field. There are several common types of loans that you'll hear these words being thrown around, like conventional loan, FHA loan, VA loan. One that's really fun around the KC Metro is the USDA loan. There are some smaller communities kind of on the outskirts of the Metro that are still like a 30-minute drive to downtown that have a USDA loan, which means no down payment. So that's very exciting. Other things you can find out when you're getting pre-approved with the lender is if you qualify for first-time homebuyer benefits. I have a whole separate video on mistakes first-time homebuyers make, so you definitely want to check that out. But you may or may not qualify for them, but there's only one way to find out. It's to have that conversation. This is when you'll find out about closing costs, about, if you need to improve your credit score, all of that good stuff. But getting pre-approved with a lender is the first step to your home buying process, whether you're 3 months away or 18 months away. The second step to buying a house in KC is finding a real estate agent. So in short, a buyer's agent's job is to help you find a home you like, advise you on what terms to write on your offer on the home, help you research the risks, the neighborhood, the comps, educate you on what kind of inspections to have, help you negotiate both the price, the inspection period, and overall ensure you the smoothest ride to closing, the best deal possible, and the home that makes the most sense for your needs right now. Buyer's agents have been in the news lately, and I have a whole video about what all of that means that you should definitely go check out. But long story short, buyer's agents are here to stay and a great resource for you as you go through the home buying process. If you have any questions about that, I would love to chat with you, but it's really important for you to know that you are hiring an agent that is full-time, that has experience, that is selling a good number of houses, and that has support to walk you through the entire process. And spoiler alert, yes, hi, I have all of that, and I would love to help you. Step 3 in the journey to buying a house in Kansas City is writing down all your must-haves. And I mean actually on a piece of paper, or maybe not literally, like you can use your notes app too, but put it in writing somewhere so that you can hold future you accountable to the things that you decided are your must-haves for a house. Your must-haves list should be like 3 to 5 items long. It should be pretty short because those are the things that are deal breakers. I'm not moving, I'm not buying a house if it doesn't have these 3 to 5 things. Then you have another category of, this is important to me, but I could give it up in the right situation. And that can be a lot longer, like 10 or 12 things. And then you have a bottom category of would be nice. And this oftentimes is just a few things, but it can be really long. It doesn't really matter. That's just kind of your list of things that you're gonna pull from if you're just differentiating between a couple of really similar houses. Your must-haves list will look really different than anyone else's. And if you're buying with a partner or a loved one, it's really important that you both write this list down and then go over them together and make a combined list of your absolute must-haves, that both of your absolute must-haves are met. And then the bottom 2 categories, you can kind of break it down by person and pick and choose from each would be nice thing, and then I don't necessarily need, but would be fun to have. Step 4 in the process to buying a house in Kansas City is the most fun part, and that is house hunting. That is driving around and looking at houses. And let me tell you, it's not like an episode of HGTV's House Hunters. It's not. I know because I've been on one. And it's not real life. When you look at a house in Kansas City, most of the time you're looking at far more than 3 houses, whether it be because you're getting offers declined or because you're in the lucky position of having lots to choose from. Very few people just look at a couple of houses and make a decision. This process can be really fun. It can also be really stressful and really overwhelming. So I have a couple of pieces of advice for this process, if I may offer you some big sisterly advice for just a moment. Make sure that both people are available for every single showing if you're buying with a partner. If they're not, make sure that you both have looked each other in the eyes and said, if I'm available to see a house and you're not, do you trust me to put an offer in on a house that you haven't seen yet? Because this can save a lot of fights. It's also really important that in the last step you got on the same page with your must-haves. I also would advise not bringing any outside parties or opinions with you on these showings. And then of course, doing advanced research, saving yourself the time and headache of looking at more houses than you have to. And that's doing things like, if school district is important to you, researching school district, looking on local crime maps to make sure you're comfortable with the area, hopping on Google Street View, looking up and down the street and seeing if you like the quality of the neighborhood, and going and driving in front of the house before you ever go look at it. All of those things can save you a lot of time and headache from looking at houses that may just overwhelm you because you don't like them anyways. But overall, house hunting is the fun part. It's when you actually get to walk in houses and picture yourself there and dream of this new era of homeownership. Step 5, once you find a house that you love, is making an offer. So there are several things that go into an offer, but I'll go over kind of the main components so that you understand what an offer, what causes the offer to have structure. First is the price. This can be list price, this can be more, this can be less. You can offer anything you want. Oftentimes, if it's brand new to market, it's list price or a little over. If it's been on the market a week or so, it's usually list price or a little under. And then once you get beyond a week or so, sometimes you can make some pretty substantial kind of lowball offers and try to get a deal on a house. The type of financing you have is a component of your offer as well, whether you're a conventional, FHA, whatever type of financing you have. The amount of down payment you're going to put down is a factor in your offer as well. You'll disclose to the sellers if you're going to put 20% down or 3% down or 40% down, and that helps the sellers decide if that they're going to pick you or they want to work with you. Contingencies. This doesn't just mean the sale of your home, but this also means inspections and appraisals, financing contingencies. You have the option to waive any or all of those in some cases, that if you're trying to compete against other offers. Your closing date is another factor in your offer. Most sellers are expecting a 30-day close, but there are some that need more time or some that would be thrilled with something a little faster. And then your earnest money. Earnest money is like a down payment on your down payment. If you make it to the closing table, it gets applied to your balance at closing. So it's not like you're losing the money. Oftentimes, if you cancel at an allowed point of the contract, like inspections or appraisal, you'll get that money back as well. Step number 6 in your journey to buying a house in Kansas City is congrats, you went under contract. You have an offer accepted on a home. What's next? It is inspections. Your inspection period in Kansas City is generally about 10 days. And the kinds of inspections you can do varies greatly. But on most houses in Kansas City, I like to see a general inspection, a termite inspection, a radon inspection, and a sewer line scope. In some houses, you might want to do a structural inspection, a mold inspection. You can test for lead, you can test for asbestos, you can do all kinds of different testing. But those 4 main ones are what we're seeing on most homes in Kansas City. So you have those inspections done, those come out of your pocket, you pay for them. And then in most cases, you're able to go back to the sellers and say, hey, here's what we found in the inspection report. Can you please fix this, that, and the other? Unless you have waived some of your rights during the inspection period. Step 7 is the appraisal. After your inspection's done, the appraisal usually happens shortly after. Basically, an appraiser is assuring the bank that the home is worth what you have agreed to pay for it. Usually, you don't have too much to worry about with the appraisal. In fact, recently I have had, I'm going to say 60% of my clients, appraisals have been coming back at more than what they offered to pay on the house, meaning they have instant equity. So that's exciting for my clients. But appraisal, I wouldn't get too in the weeds on it. Usually you don't have to stress about it too much, but just know it is an opinion, it is subjective, and every once in a while we get a wild, hairy one that we'll deal with as it comes. After all of those steps are completed, really the last thing to do is to close on your home. It's time to sign on the dotted line and get the keys. This is where you pay your closing costs, you pay your down payment, and you officially take over the home. after closing, it's important to do a few things right away. Change the locks, change the furnace filter, the AC filter, whatever, the HVAC filter if you haven't yet. Check to see if the gutters need cleaned out. Do all of those like home ownership things right off the bat. And then you have a reminder every year when you think, oh, it's my 1-year anniversary of buying this house. Let me go through and do all those annual home ownership things. So make sure you jump on those, and that's it. That's the process to buying a house, which you may feel like was way too easy, or you may feel overwhelmed, or somewhere in between, but don't worry. It is truly a fun, rewarding process to buy a house in the Kansas City area, especially with where Kansas City is right now. We're on such an exciting trajectory, and to own your own little piece of it, so cool. I would love to answer any questions you have, so let's hop on Zoom, let's grab a coffee, and let's talk all things Kansas City and real estate. Until then, I'll be here on YouTube giving you the scoop on all things Kansas City. See you next time.